Welcome back to PRN Test Drive. I'm James, and I've spent my entire week behind the wheel of this 2024 Mazda MX-5 RF GT. Now, Mazda has been making the MX-5 for several years. They used to call it the Miata, and now it is also known as the Mazda ND3. And despite that fact, I have never been able to drive any single one of the variations until now, until getting to spend an entire week with it. And I can tell you now, I absolutely understand the hype. Since my friends in Ontario already showed you the MX-5 at length, the only really big difference between our two vehicles is I have the hardtop and I have a tan leather interior, although I do lose my Recaro seats. I also have the red painted Brembo brakes and the 17-inch BBS wheels, which with this red paint color, this whole package looks fantastic. This is also the most expensive Mazda MX-5 that money can buy, since I have the GT and the GSP package, which is just fully loaded, and I would not have it any other way. I'm so glad that I get to experience the Mazda MX-5 at its best. So before I hop in and take you on the road, I want to tell you about what's under the hood. We have the Mazda Skyactiv G 2-liter 4-cylinder engine giving us 181 horsepower, 151 pound-feet of torque. Now that might not seem like a lot, but this thing moves. When you consider how much weight savings is going on in here and just how small it is, it gets up to speed absolutely no problem, and you have the best time doing it. Now, it also comes standard in rear-wheel drive with a 6-speed manual transmission. There is an automatic transmission available. However, I feel like you kill all the fun of this vehicle if you take that. The manual transmission is the way to go. So with all the specs, numbers, and special stuff out of the way, let me take you on the road in this thing because there's a lot more to go over. Let's do it. All right, so now on the road with the 2024 Mazda MX-5 RF GT with the Grand Sport package. It's a lot of words, but it's basically the fully loaded Mazda MX-5, and I wouldn't have it any other way for my first experience in a Mazda. I mean, look, I don't miss those flip-up headlights that are usually on the older Mazda Miatas. I don't miss them. I love the new redesign. I love the way the front and the rear looks. I love this red paint color. It looks just so rich and so different in different lighting. You'll see like the paint almost darken, lighten, shine. It's just really, really cool and unique. And I feel like just driving around, I'm turning so many more heads just because of the fact that I'm red. And the hardtop just kind of ties it all together. Personally, just based off looks, not convenience, I prefer the hardtop a lot more than I do the soft top. Now, convenience-wise, you know, I saw that Victor was taking that top down in like sub 3 seconds. You know, that was as fast as an F1 pit stop, how fast he was able to actually get that top down. Me, on the other hand, it takes about 10 to 8 seconds, and I can't go more than 10 kilometers an hour, otherwise it will not work. So there's that. It's kind of like an issue, but you know, I've got my top up, so the wind noise isn't gonna be that bad. So let's give it a little bit of beams here. A little pull from third gear. Oh yeah, it gets up there really quick. Like, I'm not even redlining it or anything because I can't, because there's somebody going extremely slowly in front of me. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because no matter how often I'm shifting, I'm having fun. And that's the cool thing, right? Like, you know, things like the Acura Integra Type S, they're so fast, right? And you know, you're shifting, you don't have to shift that often because the second gear power band is so long. So like, it's not as fun, it's not as rewarding as shifting a Mazda MX-5 is. It's so much fun to just shift around in this thing, downshift, upshift. And the good thing is that you're gonna shift very actively in this as well. So I just love it. There's no rev match downshifting, but do I care? Absolutely not. Because it's forced me to be a better manual driver. I've had to learn kind of how to get used to rev match downshifting myself, and I've actually gotten quite good with it, I'll say. You know, sometimes I miss and I don't rev enough, or I rev too much, but sometimes I'm absolutely perfect. I'm like a well-oiled computer, and I know exactly which revs. And that's because the Mazda MX-5 has taught me kind of how to become a better manual driver. I don't have that much manual driving experience. You know, I've got maybe, say, a month and a half behind my belt at this point, which is enough to know the basics. But when you get into the intermediate stuff, I take a lot of practice. Like, my heel toe needs so much work, it's not even funny. But still, I could, you know, with a bit more time in this MX-5, I could definitely do it. And the steering, the handling, I feel so connected to the MX-5. Like, it's so different. It's almost hard to explain unless you drive it, but I'll try my best here. So I can feel the car through the steering wheel, and I can also feel it through the seat, if that makes sense. I can feel all of the bumps, and it's not even that the bumps are, it's a harsh ride. I've got really good, shock absorbers in here that, it's very smooth. This drives like close to a Mazda 3 quality, which is absolutely ridiculous to say. And it's just been like, I'm just so shocked at it, and I didn't get it before. I thought, like, why would you buy a Miata that only has 181 horsepower versus, like, say, like a convertible Mustang, just for an example? Because Mustang's faster, it's louder, but 181 horsepower, I'm telling you right now, is plenty for this thing. And I can see why so many people want to take this thing on the track. Even it comes with a track mode where it'll turn your track control slightly off to give you more freedom on the track. Of course, you can turn it fully off, neither of which that I will do because, like I said, I'm not an everyday manual driver. So I'm not going to do something like that. I don't want to end up wrapped around a tree. But still, this is like the best summer car that I have ever, experienced. And speaking of the best summer car that I've ever experienced, I'm about to pull over right here, and we are going to drop this top. As you can hear me missing my downshift a little bit, revving too high for third gear. But see, I know that I've done that because the Mazda's so good at kind of like telling me the way it jerks. I can feel everything through my seat, and also even through the transmission sometimes. So like, it's just doing such a good job at letting me know how it needs to be driven. And I feel like with all the assist and stuff on the modern manuals, you just don't get that kind of experience. So as I said, let's pull over here because there's no way I'm going to try to time this thing at a red light and inconvenience everybody around me. So let me pull in here to this little parking area, swing it around town. Here we go. All right, we're gonna pop neutral, pop the handbrake, and I'm gonna hold my button. It's gonna release the top. Top's down, there we go. Last part is the windows that are automatic down, not automatic up. But there we go. Now I am in absolute freedom in the Mazda MX-5. So now we can reverse, no problem. Now this is where this nice tan interior really shines, right? Like I find my seats aren't as hot when I'm, even if I leave the top open and like say I'm just running into a store, I leave the top open and I go somewhere, the seats don't actually get that hot, which is super good because you don't really want it to get hot because of the color, because it's not a black seat. I would prefer the Recaros though. Honestly, I do love the look of this, but the Recaros just are like the racing seat. You just want to be planted in the vehicle. But still, these seats hold me very well. I've got a Bose sound system in my headrest that sounds absolutely great, and I can, have such a good time listening to music in the open air. The Bose will also adjust the audio based on speed because it knows that it's going to get louder as you get up in speed. So it adjusts it, and that's really useful in the convertible just because of the fact that sometimes when you stop at a red light, if you don't have that on, you're absolutely blasting music. You can't even hear yourself think. So it kind of adjusts it as you're kind of slowing down. Pull from second gear. Woo! Oh yeah, that's too much fun in the wind. So this vehicle isn't very practical. I mean, there's not a lot of storage. The trunk is, big enough, but it's not that big. You could probably fit a pair of mini golf clubs in there, but that's it. I mean, but that's not what you buy for, right? You just buy it for your summer cruiser. Right now the sun is out, my top is off, I can feel the wind, and I have such a fun and engaging vehicle to drive. I don't really care about storage. I mean, I can fit a little bag here and there inside inside the trunk, and I can fit some things behind me here. And also my cup holders are removable, but they're still there. You can have one, you can see there's one behind me, and there's one right there for my passenger when there is one. So I think that's really cool. The fact that you can just take them out if you don't want them, it gives the passenger a little bit more room, or you can put them behind you. I think that's cool. I think that's really good. And also the other thing is like, so I'm 5'11", right? And I'm not necessarily like an average, I mean, I'm a taller guy, I guess. I'm not, too wide, so the seats fit me very well. But still, I feel like I could use with a bit more, leg room a little bit. I found myself kind of scrunched. The only good news is that since when I drive manual, I tend to be a little bit closer than I need to be to the steering wheel, just because it helps me with, making sure that clutch is depressed all the way to the floor. Since again, I am still pretty much a beginner manual driver, I like to be close. So, the seat position in the MX-5 doesn't really bother me that much. And just the overall ride quality, like if you were expecting me to come on here and tell you that you shouldn't buy the MX-5 or to not gush, you're in the wrong video, because I am going to gush. I can't find anything bad to say about it. Yeah, tech-wise, maybe it's limited, but you don't care. That's the thing. You're not buying an MX-5 because of all the cool tech and the rev match downshifting and all that stuff. You're buying it purely for a cool top-down driving experience. Whether you get the soft top or the hard top, it doesn't matter. You're driving it just to be engaged in your driving, and that is what it does perfectly, and one of the best manuals I have ever experienced. The transmission, the pedal box, it all works so well in conjunction with the way I want it to, when I want to do something, it's just there. It knows what I want to do, and I am able to get it there, even being a beginner manual driver. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to end the video there. I don't want to talk too much. Victor already covered this in extensive, so just kind of, showing you what it's like here on the Quebec roads, stuff like that. Oh man, what I wouldn't give to have this car all summer. Mazda, if you're watching and you're open to some long-term loans, I'll sign myself up right here for the MX-5 for the entire summer. I'll find time to drive this thing all summer, let me tell you, because oh my God, I love it so much. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one to let it go. This is one of those times where you're like, I just don't want to bring it back. You know what? I don't know if I'm gonna do that. I might just keep it. But unfortunately, you can't do that. You got to give it back and let the next person enjoy it just as much as I did. So with that being said, I'll let you enjoy the next video. Make sure you check any one of them out. Make sure you click the subscribe button, put the bell notification on. We have a full new clothing line out, a little merch that you want to wear. If you want to support the channel directly, you can put all that stuff on. Free advertising for us, there's no secret there. Also supports the channel directly from the money that we earn off them, and it's all going to go right back to getting more opportunities and to, just making the channel better for you guys to watch, because that's all we want to do. So go ahead and buy one of those for me if you don't mind. Make sure you click the like button, and I'll see you in the next week. See you in the next car. Take care.